The DNA match probability was marked at 99.999%. Ling Xuyan pushed the thin report across the table toward me. Her voice was cold and certain. After 18 years, they had finally found me, the lost true son of the Ling family. I sat in the big, cold conference room. It felt like waking up from a near-death experience. The air conditioning above was blowing hard. It made my back feel cold. Outside the window was the 48-story Ling Group headquarters. It was tall and cold, looking down over the whole city. Just like the 5 people at the other end of the table. 5 Ling sisters, all with perfect makeup and expensive clothes. They all looked at me. Their eyes had judgment, pity, and clear disdain. It was exactly the same as the scene before I died in my last life. I remembered clearly. In 3 minutes, my eldest sister Ling Xuyan would slowly tell me my birth parents had already passed away. She would say the Ling family had never stopped looking for me for 18 years. She would say I was a child the family owed. What a joke. In my last life, I believed it. I grew up in an orphanage. My first 6 years were just emptiness. Then I was adopted by Lu Jianjun, a car repairman. My foster father never married. He spent his whole life running a small repair shop. During the day he worked hard under cars. At night he went to every parent-teacher conference for me. He gave me all the gentleness and love he had in his poor life. When I was 18, he died from years of hard work and illness. I was alone again. Later, I saved someone and got into a bad car accident. When I was about to die, the Ling family found me. At that moment, I foolishly believed my 20 years of drifting finally had a place to belong. I thought someone had finally been waiting for me and caring about me. I gave everything to repay this late family love. I took the blame for my 5 sisters when they leaked secrets. I protected them from public criticism. I handed over the car safety system I had developed myself. I gave away all my hard work. But in the end, it was all a carefully made lie. The Ling family never looked for me because of blood ties. It was because of the grandfather's will. Only when all children were present could the core shares be redistributed. I was just a tool for them to divide property and secure power. I took the blame for Ling Jingyu. The world misunderstood and slandered me. Later, I was forced to give blood repeatedly for him, who had heart disease, and for my 5th sister Ling Xingyao, who had a rare blood type. I had internal bleeding and my body completely broke down. At 4 a.m, in an empty hospital hallway, I died alone. But in the Ling family's public announcement, I was just an unimportant project assistant. I wasn't even given my real name or identity. Hatred and coldness took root in my heart. They completely crushed all my past weakness and eagerness. Are you listening? Ling Xuyan's cold voice pulled me back. Her face was calm and her tone was bossy. Like she was closing a business deal, not welcoming back a long-lost family member. Pack your things. Starting today, Mingwei will help you change your household registration name. Wan Qin will handle all your other matters. You don't need to worry about anything. The 5 sisters looked at me again. Their eyes carried the obvious sense of control. As if gratitude and obedience were my only option. I looked down at the DNA report on the table. I touched the cold paper with my fingers. Then I raised my hand and tore the report to pieces. Small pieces of paper fell on the smooth wooden table. Messy, just like my broken obsession from my past life. Ling Jiyu's face immediately darkened. Her voice carried anger and confusion. What are you doing? The blood relationship is real. This is solid proof. I looked up. My gaze was calm, with none of my past life's weakness and longing. The blood relationship is real, but I don't have to accept the family. I won't change my name. I won't go back to the Ling family. The moment I said that, the whole room went silent. The youngest, Ling Xingyao, couldn't help but laugh. Her eyes were full of mockery and contempt. like she was hearing the funniest joke. Do you know what kind of family the Ling family is? Don't act so noble and reserved. You're just playing hard to get, wanting us to beg and spoil you. Those words were exactly the same as in my past life. No matter what I did, how much I gave, or how much I backed down, in their eyes I was always that low-born orphan who wanted to climb up using the Ling family. I slowly stood up. My back was straight. All my past cowardice and fawning were gone. I spoke clearly, every word hitting hard. Don't worry. I won't take a single cent of Ling family money, property, or shares. Ling Minghua frowned slightly. Her tone was condescending and persuasive. Your foster father is gone. You have no close family left in this world. Your record is empty. You have no one to rely on. If you don't come back to the Ling family, you'll have nowhere to go. In the past, those words would have made me sad. I would have longed for this fake family love. But now, I only felt complete indifference. I raised my hand and pulled open the conference room door. The outside wind blew in, clearing the heavy air inside. I had no one before. And from now on, I don't need the Ling family either. I paused and looked back at the 5 sisters with different expressions on their faces. My eyes were cold and final, cutting all ties. Remember, my last name is Liu. From now on, don't get my name wrong. Don't talk about family love with me. Then I didn't stop. I turned and walked into the elevator. My back was soaked in cold sweat. Not from fear, but from the shock of being reborn. In the elevator mirror, I saw my 20-year-old face. Young and alive. No pale sickness from a long illness. No broken despair from dying. I was really back. Back to the start of this fake reunion. Back to before all the tragedy happened. In this life, I won't be the Ling family's tool. I won't be pushed around. I won't give everything and get only scars. I will protect the principles my foster father left me. I will protect all my hard work. I will take back everything that was stolen from me. And I will make everyone who was partial, evil, and greedy pay the price. The elevator went down slowly. The numbers kept changing. The ridiculous ties to the Ling family were officially over. The elevator kept going down. The closed space blocked out the judgmental and arrogant looks from the meeting room. But it couldn't block the memories from my past life flooding back. The 18-year lie. The 7 years of endurance. The despair of dying alone in the hospital hallway. Everything was as clear as yesterday. It reminded me I could never repeat that mistake. The elevator doors opened on the 32nd floor. A tall figure stood quietly outside. Ling Jingyu wore a well-tailored light gray suit. He had the Ling Group Research Institute's badge on his chest. His eyes were gentle and his manner was refined. He looked like a well-bred, harmless rich young master. Exactly like before. He was always good at playing the innocent and kind person. When he saw me, a hint of tiredness passed through his eyes. Then a warm smile appeared on his face. His voice was soft and flawless. You must be Lu Heng, right? I'm Ling Jingyu. Welcome home. From now on, we're real brothers. In my past life, I was completely fooled by this act. He said he saw me as a real brother, and would never fight me for anything. He said he wouldn't take what belonged to me. But behind my back, he calculated every step. He took over all my hard work and my life. The night I came back to the Ling family, he suddenly had a health crisis. All 5 sisters rushed to take care of him. They gave him all the attention. Meanwhile, I was quietly sent to the farthest guest room. I was completely pushed aside. In the following years, every time I achieved something or got some recognition, he would, just happen, to get sick again. He used his weakness to get sympathy. He quietly took away all my glory. Looking at his outstretched hand, I stepped aside. There was no warmth in my voice. My tone was cold and blunt. No need. I haven't accepted the Ling family, so I'm not your brother. Ling Jingyu's hand froze in the air. The warm smile on his face cracked for a second. A flash of shock and hidden malice passed through his eyes. It was too fast to catch. Just then, quick footsteps came from behind. Ling Xingyao rushed out of the meeting room. She reached out and stopped the elevator doors from closing. She glared at me with anger. She was completely protective of him. Lu Hing! You're going too far! She stared at me, her face full of anger. Jinyu came to welcome you kindly, to show you goodwill. How dare you humiliate him like this? She was always like this. In my past life and now. Of the 5 sisters, she relied on and protected Ling Jinyu the most. She also hated me the most. I quietly looked at the girl the same age as me. My heart was cold. 18 years ago, I was 3 years old. I was kidnapped at Xinqing Mall. Ling Xingyao was right next to me. The real truth behind that kidnapping had been covered up for 18 years. Everyone said it was an accidental kidnapping. That the Ling family lost their youngest son. That Ling Xingyao developed claustrophobia and lived with childhood trauma. That was why she instinctively hated me. She blamed me for ruining everyone's lives. But only I knew the truth. I restored the old surveillance footage before I died. I found the hidden truth. The person who kidnapped me wasn't a stranger. It was the Ling family's nanny, Sume. She was Ling Jingyu's biological mother. Sume was poor back then. Her son had congenital heart disease. She couldn't afford the huge medical bills. So she planned the kidnapping. She wanted her own child to replace me and stay in the wealthy Ling family. She stole my life. What was even more chilling was that Ling Jingyu found out all the truth when he was 16. He got all the evidence. But he chose to destroy it completely. He kept living as me, enjoying all the attention, resources, and life that should have been mine. He played the innocent young master for 18 years. I looked up at Ling Jingyu, whose face had gone stiff. My voice was calm but carried a bone-chilling coldness. Xinqing Mall underground parking lot, Area C, locker number 17. You know better than anyone what's inside. The moment I said that, all of Ling Jingyu's masks crumbled. All the color drained from his face. His face turned as white as paper. The panic in his eyes couldn't be hidden anymore. What are you talking about? I don't understand at all. His voice shook as he tried to defend himself. I smiled slightly and said nothing more. In my past life, it took me 7 years to dig up the truth and find the evidence. In this life, from the moment I came back, I already had it in my hands. If you don't understand, then pretend I didn't say anything. I turned to Ling Xingyao, still full of anger and protecting him. My tone was completely distant. Who you want to protect is your choice. I have no right to interfere. But from today on, none of you 5 Ling sisters have any right to order me around or judge me. The elevator doors closed. They blocked the different expressions on the 2 people outside. I felt no attachment at all. Ling Jingyu would definitely rush to the parking lot right away. He would try to destroy the evidence and cover up the truth. That was his instinct for self-preservation and selfishness. I walked out of the tall Ling Group building. The bright sun hit my skin. I let out a deep breath. The dark cloud that had weighed on my heart for 7 years finally started to clear. Without any hesitation, I called the City Police Department's Cold Case Unit. I gave them the information. I requested protective sealing and evidence collection for Locker 17 in the Xinqing Mall underground parking lot. The police station was only 200 meters from the Ling building. The police responded very quickly. When Ling Jingyu rushed to the parking lot in panic, the evidence collection area was already sealed off. His actions circling the parking lot, trying to contact the property to open the locker, and attempting to destroy the evidence were all captured by surveillance. They became solid evidence. The locker was opened. Inside were 3 things. Sumei's personal diary from that year, which detailed the whole process of switching the children 18 years ago. The silver lock I wore as a child that went missing after the kidnapping. And the original surveillance footage from the mall that hadn't been destroyed. All the evidence was solid. I knew very well that an old diary and blurry surveillance footage wouldn't be enough to convict Sumei, who had already passed away. It also wouldn't be enough to bring down Ling Jinyu, who had destroyed most of the evidence over the years. He had been careful for 18 years. He had already set up all his escape routes. But I never planned to succeed in revenge all at once. I came back to this life not for temporary satisfaction. Not for short-term revenge. I came to take back everything that was stolen from me. To protect everyone who was wronged and hurt in my past life. To make Ling Jinyu and the biased Ling family fall step by step into the abyss they created themselves. I would no longer be weak and fawning. I would no longer let others control me. In this life, I will move step by step. I will be steady and solid. After dealing with the evidence reporting, I looked up toward Tianjin University of Science and Technology. The deadline for the National Smart Transportation Innovation Competition was only 4 hours away. In my past life, I spent 2 years perfecting the Muwei early warning system. Ling Jinyu renamed it Qiming. He stole the achievement and took the award. He made me take the blame and sent me to prison. He indirectly caused the death of Uncle Xiao, who had been kind to me. In this life, I will not let that tragedy repeat. The stolen honor, hard work, and life. I will take them all back one by one. When the entrance of Tianjin University of Science and Technology appeared in my sight, my obsession surged. In my past life, I stood here, holding 2 years of hard work. I foolishly gave my Muwei early warning system to the Ling family as a gift. I pushed myself into the abyss. The first version of the system was born in Lu Jianjun's small repair shop. After my foster father died, I saw countless news stories about car accidents. I saw the frequent cases of loss of control, rear-end collisions, and driver inattention on the roads. I spent 2 years analyzing accident data. I slowly built the model. My goal was simple. To build a car safety system that could automatically slow down, brake, and call for help when a driver lost consciousness or an obstacle appeared suddenly. To protect every life behind the wheel. But after I returned to the Ling family, they said, "You don't have a team. Your work will just go to waste." They casually took away my work. My eldest sister Ling Xuyan took over the project. My third sister Ling Jiu had me sign what looked like a harmless internal authorization agreement. Ling Jinyu offered to help optimize the plan. I naively thought they were helping me bring the project to life. I thought they truly recognized my ability. 6 months later, the whole system was renamed Qiming. It was completely owned by the Ling Group Research Institute. At the press conference, under the spotlight, Ling Jinyu stood on stage accepting the applause. The 5 sisters sat in the front row, smiling and clapping. No one mentioned that I was the real developer. When I confronted them, they all ganged up on me. My eldest sister said I didn't understand how teams worked and was wasting the technology. My second sister said Ling Jinyu was weak and rarely found something he loved. My third sister pulled out the agreement and used the law to silence me. My fourth sister publicly said I was just an intern trying to get attention. My fifth sister even said in an interview that the code was all written by Ling Jinyu. They erased my name. And it didn't stop there. To make the presentation perfect, Ling Jinyu removed the redundant safety modules for extreme scenarios from the system. He launched the unfinished Qiming system too early. In the end, a car using the system lost control at high speed. 1 person died, 3 were injured. The person who died was Uncle Xiao Zhenhai. After my foster father passed away, he took care of me for 4 years. He treated me like his own nephew. And he died because of my stolen and altered code. Even worse, Ling Jinyu gave the police the flawed original version and my early test records. He made me take the blame for the accident. I went to prison for 2 years. My reputation was destroyed. In my past life, I lost completely. I lost stupidly. In this life, I will never give my Moe system away again. I will never let innocent people suffer because of my work. When I got to the lab, my advisor Qin Zhao was already waiting by the computer. He looked at my complete application materials. He was silent for a full 10 minutes. Behind his glasses, his eyes were complicated. You said you weren't going to compete before. Why did you change your mind at the last minute? I stared at the familiar competition registration page. My throat felt tight. In my past life, I was weak and insecure. I was alone with no one to rely on. I thought without a team and without resources, I could never beat Ling Jingyu, who had a rich family behind him. So I gave up. But later I understood. Giving up was never generosity. It was admitting defeat. It was giving all the power, all the honor, all the chances to the bad people. Failure can be tried again. But giving in leaves you with nothing. Qin Zhao saw the stubbornness in my eyes. He smiled and threw me the lab key. Then go for it. We don't need Ling Group's resources. The school's platform and my help are all yours. At least your work won't be stolen again. I submitted my application in the last minute before the deadline. My team had only 2 people. Me and Wen Xiaoyu. She was a top student in automation. She was also Uncle Zhao's daughter. I looked at the girl standing at the lab door, holding a toolbox. Her eyes were bright and a little stubborn. My nose suddenly felt sour. In my past life, when I was slandered and put in prison, everyone abandoned me. Everyone avoided me. Only she came to see me every month. She ran around collecting evidence for me. Later, she dug deep into Qiming System's supply chain flaws. Someone deliberately hit her and broke her right leg. She was permanently disabled. Her bright future was ruined. The Ling family's theft destroyed me and destroyed the people who truly cared about me. In my past life, I suffered and no one saved me. In this life, I come back from the ashes. I will protect her. When Xiaoyu looked me up and down. Her tone was a little teasing. I heard a rich family found you. Why are you still at school? Didn't you go live your rich life? I looked at her. My voice was firm, without any hesitation. I didn't accept them. I have my own home. The home Uncle Xiao and Uncle Lu gave me is enough. She froze. The fingers holding her tools paused for a moment. After a while, she let out a quiet laugh. Her tone was relieved. At least you still have a conscience. The sun shone through the lab windows. It fell on the new equipment, and on my new life. I held back the emotion in my chest and spoke seriously. Xiaoyu, in this competition, I'm not just going to protect the Moe system. I'm going to take back everything that was stolen. I'm going to protect everyone we care about. No one we love will suffer because of this again. In the past, I was naive and kind. I let people push me around. Now I know the difference between warmth and cold. I know who to repay and who to hold accountable. The glory, fame, and wealth the Ling family wanted, I will tear them apart with my own hands. The life and hard work Ling Jingyu stole, I will take them back. This time, I'm not alone. I have a teammate by my side. I have the principle I started with. And I have a bottom line I will never compromise on. The competition is about to begin. Ling Jingyu's fake glory is about to end. And my new life starts now. For 3 full days after I refused the Ling family and tore up the DNA test, nothing happened. No one from the Ling family came to find me. It was like I had never existed. I knew what they were thinking. In their eyes, I was just throwing a tantrum and being pretentious. Once I realized how hard it was to have no one to rely on, I would eventually give in. I would come back to the Ling family and cooperate with the will. They were sure that because I grew up poor, I couldn't refuse the wealth and status right in front of me. On the 4th morning, Ling Jiu showed up at the bottom of the lab building with a lawyer. She wore a simple suit. Behind her glasses, her eyes were calm and rational. Her professional training as a lawyer gave her an undeniable pressure. She didn't waste time on small talk. She handed me a printed public statement. Her tone was flat, but every word was meant to pressure me. You don't have to move back to the old house for now, but your family relationship must be publicly confirmed. Grandfather's will is being executed at the end of the month. If you don't show up and refuse to accept the family, it will directly affect all your sister's share distribution and the entire Ling Group's equity restructuring. I looked at the statement. All I felt was cold mockery. In my past life, they never mentioned a word about the will's details to me. Only after they tricked me into giving up all my shares and voting rights, and even taking the blame for Ling Jingyu and going to prison, did I find out that as the lost youngest son, I actually held 10% of the group's core shares. That was the foundation grandfather left for me. It was what should have been mine. But they worked together to take it all away from me. So what's in it for me? I looked at her, my tone indifferent. Ling Jiu pushed up her glasses. Her tone carried the obvious sense of persuasion. The Ling family needs to complete the board restructuring. The group needs new investment to recover. Don't let your stubbornness and anger cause huge losses to the whole family. We are your real sisters. Blood is something you can never deny. I acknowledge the blood, I said quietly, watching her expression change slightly. I'll pay half the cost of the DNA test. Other than that, I have nothing to do with the Ling family. Ling Jiu's face immediately darkened. Her eyes were full of disbelief. She had always believed in rules, evidence, and logic. No one had ever so directly refused the Ling family's power and wealth. You're too naive. Her tone was cold. Your foster father was just a regular repairman. The platform, resources, and experience he could give you are nothing compared to what the Ling family can give you, 100 times over. Why are you ruining your own future? That sentence touched my bottom line. I stopped walking. My gaze turned cold. I stared at her hard. Say that again. The scenes from my past life came flooding back. On the surface, they were grateful to Uncle Lu for raising me. But behind my back, they looked down on his background and his job. When the Ling family set up ancestral tablets, they wouldn't let me put up my foster father's photo. Every time we honored the ancestors, they would hint that I should forget the past. They wanted me to erase that low-class part of my life. They even forced me to change my last name. They wanted to completely erase my identity as Lu Jianjun's son. Their gratitude to my foster father was just words. In their hearts, they never truly respected the ordinary man who gave everything to raise me. Ling Jiu noticed my anger. She softened her tone slightly. There was a hint of condescending comfort in her voice. I know he raised you and it wasn't easy. We can compensate you. 1 million is enough to fix up his grave and settle this debt. That's a good deal. Shut up. This was the first time I got angry at a Ling family member. My voice was cold to the bone. My foster father's kindness was bought with his life. You can't use money to pay off what you owe me for the shares. I took up my phone and spoke calmly. If you talk about his dignity and his kindness as bargaining chips again, I'll record everything right now and make it public. Let everyone see how the high and mighty Ling family tramples on ordinary people's kindness and sacrifice. Ling Jiu's face turned pale. She instinctively looked at the lawyer beside her. She didn't dare say another word. When Xiaoyu stepped forward slowly, her tone was clear and sharp. Lawyer Ling, outsiders are not allowed to stay on campus for long periods or pressure students privately. If you have official business, make an appointment first. This isn't Ling Group's private property. Ling Jiu recognized her. A habitual look of contempt passed through her eyes. Her voice was cold. This is Ling family business. It has nothing to do with outsiders. I'm not a Ling family member anymore. I interrupted her. So this isn't family business. Ling Jiu had nothing to say. She could only grip the documents tightly and leave with the lawyer. Her back was full of frustration and anger. They would never know that I knew the will better than anyone. In my past life, I only found out after I went to prison. There was a hidden clause in grandfather's will that no one knew about. If I actively refused to acknowledge the family, the 10% of shares under my name would automatically go to a charitable trust. It would operate independently. It wouldn't affect the other sisters' shares at all. They went through all this trouble to force me back. Not for family reunion. They just couldn't bear to lose that fortune. They couldn't stand letting that money slip away. That afternoon, I went straight to the city notary office. I submitted a formal statement refusing to acknowledge the family. I activated the will's additional clause. All my shares were transferred to a special charitable trust. The beneficiaries were all orphans who lost their parents in traffic accidents. When the news reached the Ling family, it caused an uproar. I didn't want money, power, or any Ling family identity. I had completely destroyed their leverage over me. On the day the will was executed, I didn't show up. I only had my lawyer read a statement. In the old house meeting room, the 5 sisters and Ling Jingyu sat together. Everyone was sure I was just playing hard to get. They thought I would eventually give in for the huge share fortune. Then the lawyer played a video grandfather had recorded 7 years earlier. In the video, the old man was weak in bed, but his words were clear. I searched for my son for 10 years. I know how biased people can be. I left this 10% not to tie the child to the family, but to protect him. If he wants to come back, the shares are his. If he doesn't, they will all be donated. Families should never be a chain. Whether the child comes back or not should never be decided by money. It depends on whether we deserve his love. The video ended. The room was completely silent. They finally understood. I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I was really, completely letting go of the whole Ling family. The 2 billion they had schemed for so long, I donated without blinking. Ling Jingyu sat in the shadows. His fists were clenched tight. The hatred in his eyes was almost impossible to hide. He was always good at using people's greed and desires. But I had no desires at all. All his schemes, all his masks, all his backup plans were completely useless against my total rejection. They were all just a joke. After the charitable trust was set up and the 2 billion in shares were fully donated, public opinion completely reversed. Earlier, my 4th sister Ling Wanqing, a famous TV host, had created a sad story on camera. She told the public I was an ungrateful, greedy son who refused to come back to the family. She said I wasn't satisfied with the resources the Ling family gave me and threw a tantrum. Her fans flooded the school forum with hate. They called me an ungrateful nobody, a white-eyed wolf, someone with too much ambition. In my past life, I would have panicked and tried to explain everything. I would have defended myself point by point, making things worse. In this life, I posted 2 pictures on my personal account. One was the notarized refusal statement. The other was the charitable trust registration. I wrote just 2 words. Don't want. Overnight, it was reposted over 100,000 times. All the slander was cleared. How could someone who refused to return to a rich family and gave up a huge inheritance be greedy? Netizens started digging deeper. They wondered what the Ling family had done that was so terrible. What could make their long-lost brother cut off all ties so completely? Public opinion completely flipped. The Ling family's carefully built image of a warm, loving rich family cracked for the first time. Ling Wanqing called me like crazy. 17 calls. I blocked them all. I knew the 5 sisters were just embarrassed, annoyed, and on the defensive. The one who would really panic was Ling Jingyu. He knew better than anyone that I wasn't refusing money. I was refusing the Ling family's biased, hypocritical, and dishonest rules. A person who knew the truth for 18 years, who couldn't be controlled, and who had top-tier skills was far more dangerous than someone who would compromise for money. The night before the preliminary round, at 11 p.m., there was a sudden problem in the lab. The whole building lost power for no reason. The backup generator was manually turned off. All power was cut. The hard drives of the two main computers were physically damaged. Some temporary data was lost. Even worse, the test vehicle's brake controller had been replaced with cheap, defective parts. When Xiaoyu and I got to the lab, she was crouched by the test car. Her fingers touched the broken parts. Her face was pale. "The closed test is tomorrow morning at 9. The whole braking and warning system needs at least 2 days to recalibrate. There's no time." Her voice was tight, her eyes full of despair. "The rules are the same for everyone. There are no exceptions. We're out." Advisor Qin Zhao contacted the competition organizers all night to ask for an extension. The reply was cold and firm. "All teams follow the same rules. No special treatment." I bent down and looked at the serial number on the broken controller. My eyes turned cold. This part came from the Ling Group Research Institute's scrap materials warehouse. Exactly like my past life. After Ling Jingyu stole my Muwei system, renamed it Qiming, and won the award, he also sent people to destroy my backups and equipment. He completely cut off any way for me to prove the truth. He never acted himself. He always worked from behind the scenes. He used others to do his dirty work. He kept his hands clean. All the blame had nowhere to go. "Call the police," I said calmly. When Xiaoyu looked up. "I already called. But the police investigation and evidence collection will take time. The competition won't wait." I wasn't panicked. I opened the lab's secure storage cabinet. I took out 2 sealed portable hard drives. "I have backups." One was the complete source code from the lab's daily offline differential backups. The other was a permanent backup I kept at Uncle Zhao's old repair shop. From the first day of development, I had double backups at different locations, kept offline. No internet, no cloud. No remote deletion possible. In my past life, I lost because I was unprepared and trusted people too much. In this life, after nearly dying because of that mistake, I prepared for everything. When Xiaoyu stared at me, her eyes were complicated. "When did you get so careful?" "When I got hurt badly enough," I said quietly. I didn't go into detail about dying in my past life. Not everyone needed to understand that pain. That night, the 3 of us worked through the night. We removed the broken controller. We took compatible parts from Uncle Zhao's old car and modified them by hand. We reloaded the complete source code. We recalibrated every piece of data, fixed the modules, and adjusted the warning system. At dawn, Qin Zhao arrived with some student volunteers. No one fought over credit. No one cared about getting recognition. Everyone just wanted to protect this system made purely for safety. At 8:40 a.m., the closed test officially started. The simulation scenario was a driver suddenly losing consciousness at high speed with a sudden obstacle. The Muwei system activated immediately. In 7 seconds, it identified the obstacle, slowed down, swerved to avoid it, moved to the emergency lane, and sent location and rescue information. The whole process was smooth and perfect. 0 errors, 0 lag. It got the highest score of the day. It locked in first place in the preliminaries. The judges asked during the Q&A, "Why did you name this safety warning system Muwei?" I looked toward Wen Xiaoyu, sitting calmly in the audience. My voice was steady and clear. "Because someone is always standing guard in the dark when no one is watching. They protect travelers before dawn comes. They protect every ordinary life." At the same time, the police identified an engineer from Ling Group using surveillance footage from around the lab building. When the police arrested him, his phone's recent contacts showed a name saved as Young Master Jingyu. I looked at the evidence the police sent me. I felt nothing. This was just the beginning. Ling Jingyu liked to hide in the shadows and ruin people. So I would tear off his mask of innocence piece by piece. I would expose all his dirty tricks to the light. The day the first place result was announced, the Ling Group Research Institute team was in chaos. Everyone had assumed the championship was already Ling Jingyu's. He had the Ling Group's huge funding, equipment, and connections. He had been preparing for 6 months. He was the dark horse and favorite to win. No one expected that I would come out of nowhere with a score that crushed him. I left Ling Jingyu in second place. The industry forums, university boards, and tech media all exploded. People compared the data from both systems. My Muwei system was better in every important area. Extreme weather avoidance, emergency obstacle response, dual protection for people and vehicles. The gap was clear. There was no way to explain it away. In the Ling family villa, the 5 sisters were completely shaken. Before, they could comfort themselves by saying I was just acting out of pride. They thought I had gotten lucky with some beginner's luck. But the real professional data shattered their prejudices. I was no longer that low-born orphan they could push around. I had top-tier skills. I had the ability to completely tear down all of Ling Jingyu's glory. Before the finals, my eldest sister Ling Xuyan came to see me at school. She dropped her cold distance from before. Her tone was deliberately warm and friendly. She lowered her posture a lot. She acted like a caring older sister. We were too rushed before. Our approach was wrong. Don't take it to heart. She looked at me, her tone sincere. We've all seen the strength of the Muwei system. You have real talent. There's no need to be angry with the family. I listened quietly. All I felt was cold mockery. It was always like this. When I had nothing and depended on them, they were cold, contemptuous, and controlling. When I had skills and could threaten their interests, they lowered themselves and acted warm. They tried to trap me with family ties. Ling Xuyan saw I wasn't responding and kept going. She offered more. Come back to the family. All the Research Institute's core resources will be open to you. Jinyu's team can merge into your project. All resources are yours to use. After the finals, your technology can go into production right away. The Ling Group will back you completely. Empty promises. Luring me in. Keeping me under control. Her goal was clear. Take over my technology. Neutralize my threat. Make me a stepping stone for the Ling family and Ling Jingyu again. In my past life, I fell for that talk. I thought I was finally getting family approval. I willingly gave away all my work. In the end, my reputation was destroyed and I died alone. I looked up. My tone was flat and emotionless. No need. My technology won't be part of the Ling Group. And I won't be a stepping stone for anyone. Ling Xuyan's expression darkened. Her gentle act dropped. Her tone became pressuring. Do you have to be so extreme? Blood ties aren't something you can just cut off. Even if you don't accept the Ling family, the world will always connect you to us. What connects us isn't blood. It's your greed. I said clearly. I gave up billions in shares and refused a rich family's identity. All I wanted was to live honestly and peacefully. You're the ones who won't let me go. Ling Jinyu is the one who destroyed my equipment and sabotaged my competition. I'm not the one being cruel. Ling Xuyan's face stiffened. She instinctively avoided my gaze. She knew perfectly well that Ling Jinyu was probably behind the late-night lab sabotage. But her deep-rooted favoritism made her protect him without thinking. Jingyu was just foolish for a moment. He's young and eager to win. She instinctively defended him. His heart isn't bad. He's just afraid of losing to you. He feels insecure. That sentence exposed all the Ling family's double standards. They were both brothers. I stepped back, endured, and gave everything. They saw it as normal, and said I was just trying to climb up. Ling Jingyu schemed and ruined people's futures. But he was just young and foolish. He deserved forgiveness. The fairness I had begged for my whole life in my past life never existed in the Ling family. So he does something wrong and he should be forgiven. I get sabotaged, my work is stolen, and my future is almost ruined. And I should just be generous and forgive? I laughed coldly. I don't understand your logic, Sister Ling. And I won't accept it. Ling Xuyan had no comeback. Her face went pale and red. In the end, she left with nothing but humiliation. Shortly after she left, the police investigation was completed. The arrested engineer confessed everything. He admitted Ling Jingyu paid him to break into the lab at night. He cut the power, damaged the equipment, and replaced parts with defective ones. His goal was to make me miss the competition and ruin my career. The evidence was complete. Testimony, chat records, transaction logs, surveillance footage. All of it. Solid proof. When the news broke, the tech world exploded. No one could believe that Ling Jingyu, known for his gentle genius and kind young master image, would use such dirty methods to attack a competitor. Even more damning, netizens dug deeper. They found that the core structure of the Qiming system closely matched my earlier published academic papers. Plagiarism, theft, and malicious sabotage. 3 huge scandals at once. Ling Jingyu's perfect image collapsed completely. The Ling Group Research Institute's reputation hit rock bottom overnight. I stood by the lab window. I watched the crowd gathering downstairs because of the public opinion. I felt nothing. This was only the first step. In my past life, he ruined my life, stole my work, and hurt the people I loved. In this life, I will tear apart his mask layer by layer. I will take back everything that belongs to me. The finals are coming. The real showdown is just beginning. In front of everyone, I will crush his stolen, cobbled together work. He will pay the heaviest price for stealing 18 years of my life. #Final chapter. Everything returns to its place. I am clear and true. Full story ending. The finals of the National Smart Transportation Innovation Competition. A stadium with 10,000 seats, completely full. Live cameras covered the whole internet. All the arguments, all the controversy, all the months of hidden conflict. They all came together in this final match. Ling Jingyu was the last to appear on stage. He still wore his perfect suit. His face was paler than before. But he still kept that harmless, kind act. People who knew him could see that his calm was fake. It was just the last bit of a crumbling act. After the engineer's confession, the transaction records, and the sabotage evidence were all exposed, his genius image was already full of cracks. If it weren't for the 5 sisters spending everything to suppress the news, control the media, and buy positive coverage, he wouldn't have made it to the finals. Everyone in the Ling family knew this competition was Ling Jingyu's last hope. If he won, he could use the gold medal to steady his reputation. He might save some face for the Ling Group Research Institute. If he lost, his years of lies would completely fall apart. Plagiarism, theft, and malicious framing would be proven. There would be no way back. On stage, Ling Jingyu presented the Qiming system smoothly. His words were perfect and natural. He took all the credit for himself. Every sentence emphasized his years of hard work and dedication. The 5 sisters sat in the front row. Their faces were tense. Their eyes showed desperate favoritism. Even knowing the truth, even knowing this system was never his, they still chose to protect Ling Jingyu. They had always been biased. They had always lied to themselves. They had always given all the glory to the fake son who had stolen someone else's life. The presentation ended. The applause was weak. None of the judges stood up to praise him. There was only silence. The judges' eyes were sharp and cold. They could see the emptiness in this system. Remove safety modules. Data full of holes. Core logic that was awkwardly copied. From beginning to end, it was a stolen, broken, and patched up mess. It was my turn. I walked onto the stage slowly. No extra introductions. I started the full demonstration of the MOE system. Heavy rain night driving. High-speed tire blowout. Sudden obstacles. Driver unconscious. Night driving with no streetlights. All the extreme scenarios the teaming system couldn't handle. The MOE system handled them perfectly. Millisecond-level recognition. Full automatic avoidance. Connected rescue alerts. Dual protection for people and vehicles. Every set of real-time data, every precise emergency response. It crushed the previous presentation completely. The crowd erupted. The live chat flooded with comments. No fancy words. No marketing tricks. Pure technical strength was the best response. The demonstration ended. I picked up the microphone. My voice was clear and strong. It echoed through the stadium. It broadcast to the whole internet. The MOE system was independently developed by me, Liu Heng. From framework design, algorithm creation, to scenario testing, it took 2 years. It was entirely original. It was never affiliated with the Ling Group. It never belonged to anyone else. The teaming system on the market has a core structure and underlying logic completely stolen from my earlier published papers and experimental drafts. Its developer, Ling Jingyu, has no independent development ability. He plagiarized, altered, and stole someone else's work. I projected all the evidence on screen. The complete timeline drafts. Year-by-year source code backups. Campus defense records. Advisors' signatures. Video of Uncle Xiao helping me test. Layer by layer, piece by piece, it all connected. There was no room for argument. Finally, I showed the biggest weapon. High-resolution scans of the complete diary from 18 years ago. And the unedited original surveillance footage from Xinqing Mall. The truth of the 18-year life swap. In front of millions of viewers online. It was completely exposed to the light. The whole stadium went silent. Then the crowd exploded. On the stage, the 5 sisters' faces were pale. They were completely frozen. All their confidence and arrogance were gone. The brother they had protected and favored with everything was always a liar. A thief who stole someone else's life and work. Ling Jingyu stood at the side of the stage. His whole body was shaking. His face was paper white. The kind, innocent young master image he had built for over 10 years was shattered completely. The judges announced the result. The MOE system won by a perfect score. Ling Jingyu was disqualified. All his industry qualifications were revoked. The teaming system was ruled as plagiarism and infringement. It was permanently banned from commercial use. The competition organizers released a public statement. They apologized and cleared my name completely. The dust settled. The Ling family collapsed completely. Public opinion was completely out of control. Hashtag Lingjingyu LifeSwap, hashtag LingSisters blind favoritism, hashtag Ximing plagiarism. Multiple trending topics took over the internet. They stayed at the top. Ling Group stock prices crashed. Business partners canceled contracts. Projects were shut down. The brand's reputation was completely destroyed. All the scandals that were hidden before came back out. Ling Jingyu's years of suppressing competitors, framing rivals, misusing research funds, and abusing his power were all exposed. The 5 sisters' abuse of their positions, manipulation of the media, and attacking ordinary people were dug up one by one. Overnight, the once glorious rich family became a joke that everyone hated. The Ling family old house was in complete chaos. The 5 sisters finally woke up. They were full of regret. They came crying to apologize. They begged for forgiveness. They tried to save some family connection. I just turned away. Apologies that came too late meant nothing. When I died alone in a hospital bed, betrayed by everyone, wrongly imprisoned, watching the people who were kind to me die because of their selfishness, they never felt any guilt or regret. Blood ties are never an excuse to trap someone. Family who never gave you love or care is worthless. Soon after, the police officially opened a case. They investigated the kidnapping and swapping from years ago, and all the related cases of infringement, slander, and intentional harm. Su Mei, who had already passed away, would be remembered for her evil forever. There was no way to wash away her crimes. Ling Jingyu was convicted of multiple charges: infringement, defamation, destruction of others' work, business crimes. He went to prison. His life would be dark. The 5 sisters were punished for protecting a criminal, manipulating the media, and business violations. They paid huge fines and faced administrative penalties. Their careers and businesses collapsed. All their fame and wealth vanished. The property and shares grandfather left behind, I had already donated everything. I didn't take a single cent. I completely cut all ties with the Ling family. In late autumn, I officially started Muin Technology with Wen Xiaoyu and advisor Qin Zhao's team. We focused on car safety system development. We worked on making roads safer for ordinary people. The first generation of the Muay safety system was released. It was widely praised. It saved countless families from car accidents. On a sunny afternoon, I stood in front of my foster father Lu Jianjun's grave. I placed a bunch of clean white chrysanthemums on it. Uncle, I survived. I cleared my name. I kept my principles. I protected the people I wanted to protect. I didn't chase after rich families. I didn't lose myself. I relied on myself and became someone I can be proud of. The wind blew through the cemetery. Gentle and quiet. Like a quiet answer. In my past life, I begged for love and got only scars. I died with hatred in my heart. In this life, I settled my debts. I am independent. My future is wide open. I don't want a rich family's fortune. I don't hold on to fake family love. I don't dwell on past suffering. The past is just the past. All debts are settled. From now on, the world no longer has a discarded son of the Ling family. Only Lu Hing. Clear, honest, and building his own world.